Algebra 2 students. We are going to look at 6-7 solving radical equations and inequalities, and I think you'll like this section. I like it a lot. It's fun. We get back to our roots of algebra with solving equations. So we're going to use inverse operations to solve, and the other thing we need to do is check for extraneous solutions. These are solutions that make the equation false and they don't work. So make sure you always do that check step to check for those false solutions. So we're going to use inverse operations. We're going to work outside in to solve for x. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. We have the square root of x plus 2 equals 3. And now we need to get rid of the square root sign, so we're going to square both sides. And that cancels this out, so we have x plus 2 equals 9. We subtract 2 from both sides, and x equals 7 for that one. So now let's check for our false solutions, our extraneous solutions. Let's see if 7 works. So we have the square root of 7, or plus 2, square root of 7 plus 2. And then we have plus 4 equals 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. The square root of 9 plus 4 equals 7. 3 plus 4 then equals 7. Is that a true statement? Yep, 7 equals 7. So then we can go back and circle our answer because that's true. Let's try another one. The square root of x minus 12 minus or equals 2 minus the square root of x. So we can't really get this guy by itself. It's already alone. And so we can't subtract this over because then it would be with this guy. And so what we can do is just go ahead and square this. If we square both sides, make sure we're squaring the whole thing. So this ends up being x minus 12. And this we have to end up foiling, which some of us are forgetting to do. We did that. We forgot to do that in the last test. But we're not going to forget it anymore. Okay, so we FOIL here. So we get 4. It'll be minus 2 square root of x, minus 2 square root of x, and then a negative square root of x plus the negative square root of x is x. So then we have x minus 12 here. And let's see, let's combine some like terms here. So we have 4 minus 4 square root of x plus x. And we have x minus 12. So notice we have an x on each side, so let's go ahead and cancel those out. Now we can subtract 4 from both sides. So we had a negative 16 equals a negative 4 square root of x. We're going to divide by a negative 4. And then we have the square root of x equals 4, so then we're going to square both sides. So x equals 16. Let's see if that will work. Didn't leave myself much room here. I'll do it over here. Let's see, the square root of 16 minus 12. Does that equal 2 minus the square root of 16? So 16 minus 12 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. And then we get 2 minus 4 is a negative 2. Again, we're talking about the principal root. So this doesn't work out, does it? So it doesn't work out. So for this one, we're actually going to say no real solution here. Doesn't work out for us. So all that work for nothing. But at least we tried it, and we know that that doesn't work out. All right, so now we have a cube root, or to the 1/3 power. And so the opposite of taking something to the 1/3 power would be to take it to the 3rd power. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and add 4. Again, we're working outside in. So then we have 2 times 6x minus 3 to the 1/3 equals 4. I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. So we have 6x minus 3 to the 1/3 equals 2. So we want this to be a power of 1. So I'm going to multiply or take it to the 3rd power and take this guy to the 3rd power too. So these end up canceling out because they're 1 to the first power. 1/3 times 3 is 1. So we have 6x minus 3, so I'm going to add 3. We have 6x equals 11 divided by 6. X equals 11 over 6. And before I circle it, let's make sure it works. I'll do it over here. So we have 2 times 6 times 11 over 6 minus 3 to the 1/3. Now remember, the 1/3 is still the cube root. So let's see here. Let's simplify inside the parentheses first. So these cancel out. So 11 minus 3 is 8. 8 to the 1/3 ends up being 2. So we have 2 times 2 minus 4. Does that equal 0? Sure does. So guess what? Our answer, we can go ahead and circle. X equals 11/6. Now the inequality part. Before we start solving this, we need to look at our domain. And we need to get that restriction in the domain always with an inequality. So this has to be greater than or equal to 0 no matter what's inside the radical. So 5x minus 10, we might as well just go ahead and do that first. Making sure that we don't get any negatives inside the square root. So we're going to add 10 over. So we get 5x is greater than or equal to 10. X is going to be greater than or equal to 2. All right, so we got that done. Now let's go ahead and solve it and see what we come up with. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. And then we have the square root of 5x minus 10 is less than or equal to 5. Go ahead and square each side. So now that cancels out. So we have 5x minus 10 is less than or equal to 25. We add 10. 5x is less than or equal to 35. X is going to be less than or equal to 7. Can we go ahead and write our answers in one line here? We did this a while back before I went on maternity leave here. So we have x. We know it's going to be less than or equal to 7, but it's also going to be greater than or equal to 2. So I'd like you to write your answers in one line, especially if it's an and, where we have x is greater than or equal to something and less than or equal to something. If it's an or where it's going opposite directions, then you can use the or statement. But try to use your and an or knowledge from like chapter 2. Alrighty. Okay. Submit in the Google form below. I want you to solve this and let me know what you get for x. Alrighty. Have a good day. Come with lots of questions. And we'll see y'all later.